So I have just announced the American Single Malt Whiskey Advent 2023. This is a callback to what I did in 2021. Back in December 2021, we were still waiting for the TTB, which is the regulatory body that controls alcohol definitions in the United States. We were still waiting on the TTB to publish the proposed rules for American Single Malt Whiskey, which they did. Phil is showing some examples of American Single Malt Whiskey. Thank you very much, Phil.
Yep.
I'll call him out in a second. Just keep him on hand for the listeners. They did post the rules for American Single Malt Whiskey at the end of July 2022, if I'm not mistaken. And at that point is when I started conducting interviews of American Single Malt Whiskey producers. It was a bit of a coincidence because I had already set up some interviews. And then before the first interview, which happened to be with Jared Himstead of Balcones, just days before that, the rules came out, which was cool. So then we had a public comment period, which lasted 90 days. And at the conclusion of the comment period, we figured it would be a few months, maybe, before we had, at the speed of government, that was unrealistic, let's be honest. But like at least a few months of the TTB noodling over the public comments they received. Phil and I coordinated with a bunch of other people to come up with some public comments from the enthusiast sector, the consumer market, basically the well-informed consumers, I guess, where we had thoughts about what labels mean to us and what would be confusing and not, and what we think should be there, and so on. And go check out my website because there's an article that writes that up and a link to our comments if you want. I'll put those links in the description as well. We've talked about this in previous videos as well. So that was 2022. And then pretty much nothing happened for about a year. I've been in touch with producers and I've been conducting interviews and all that. Some live on stream, some have been pre-recorded, and I actually have to launch a podcast in order for those to come out. At any rate, we still haven't heard from the TTB about a formal definition for the category of American Single Malt Whiskey. And we are knocking on the door of December right now. In fact, tomorrow is December 1st. And that means that it is all the more suitable that we have another American Single Malt Whiskey Advent. So the challenge for the American Single Malt Whiskey Advent 2023 is go to the subreddit r AmericanSMW. I had to abbreviate it because it was too long to write out the whole thing. And on any day that you happen to be drinking or enjoying an American Single Malt, or you've written a review or anything along those lines, or even, maybe you didn't know about the subreddit or you haven't been on there in a while and you've got some pictures that you've taken of enjoying any of these things. But the challenge basically is as many days as you can, and any amount of participation is better than zero. So don't feel like you have to do it every single day. But the challenge is during the month of December, post on that subreddit with ASMW Advent day number, whatever, and what you're drinking or enjoying or reviewing. And the reason for that is basically, as part of our public comments, we listed this subreddit as basically our community public love letter to American Single Malt Whiskey that we want the producers and the TTB to be able to see. And since there's been a big lull, there hasn't been a lot of activity in the subreddit, but it feels like now more than ever is a great time to bring it back. And as they're considering finalizing whatever recommendations they're going to make, presumably, they will come back around and look and see all of the love that our community has to share about American Single Malt Whiskey. So that was a really long way to say, go check out the subreddit and join in the American Single Malt Whiskey Advent 2023. It's going to be a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for me the first time. I ended up writing a lot of reviews as a result of that. And then I didn't write any reviews for a while. Things happen. I'm getting back into it now. So I'll also maybe post some links to recent reviews I've made of American Single Malt Whiskey